Because of the preference for boys over girls, the money that could have saved Ivy's life was used by her family to buy a wedding house for her brother. But that money came at the cost of Ivy's life. In this new life, they are now kneeling and begging her.
I hurt, but you must hurt more than I do. That's only fair.
Emily's memories were filled with bitter words and harsh demands from her past life.
Emily, you ungrateful girl. Always fighting with your brother. Do you even have the right?
Emily, send us money. Your brother wants to buy a computer.
Emily, your senior doesn't love you. Look in the mirror sometimes. Stop embarrassing yourself.
Emily, we invested money too. Everyone lost everything. Why should we pay you back?
As she closed her eyes, Emily thought if she could live again, she would make them all pay. Perhaps the heavens took pity on her because she was reborn. Emily roughly figured out how Sophia learned to play the piano the day before. She sat on the piano bench, and James wrapped his arms around her from behind, deliberately leaning close to her ear to explain.
I resisted the urge to slap him and instead showed admiration for him.
James was a smart guy. Between Sophia's coy resistance and Emily's admiration, he chose Emily. Just like in the previous life, he started pursuing her. But this time, Emily agreed to him in the school plaza, wanting the whole school to know they were together. When Emily returned to the dormitory, Sophia's gaze seemed like she wanted to skin her alive. In the evening, Emily bought a bunch of snacks and brought them back.
These are from James.
Wow, Ivy, James is so good to you.
The senior is a really nice person. He's very generous to me, buys me whatever I want. I feel a bit embarrassed.
I'm so envious of you.
Yeah, me too. I want to find a senior like James.
Only Sophia remained silent. A boyfriend who fulfills your every wish would surely tempt Sophia too.
Sophia, what's wrong? You don't seem very happy.
Nothing, I'm just not feeling well.
Oh, I thought you were having relationship problems. I was wondering if I could help. If I don't know, maybe the senior does.
Ivy, could you ask the senior for me? What kind of guys he likes?
No problem.
Emily had dated James for 3 years and knew everything about him. The next day, she compiled all of James's hobbies and favorite places and sent them to Sophia. Sophia was so grateful that she treated Emily to a cup of milk tea.
You're welcome, Sophia. You better succeed quickly, I don't have much time to waste with you.
While waiting for Sophia, I began to work on my career. I used my tuition money and a loan to buy a small apartment near the school. Next year, a commercial street would be developed near our school, causing property prices to soar. By the following summer, I sold it for 3 times the purchase price. With my first pot of gold in hand, it was time to pay attention to my remaining 2 good roommates. In my previous life, they convinced me to start a business together and invest a large sum of money, only to later tell me that we lost everything. I later found out there was no investment at all, they had just used the money for their own enjoyment. But that was the money I had painstakingly saved for my graduate school tuition, and my dream of graduate school was shattered. Standing on the balcony, I pretended to make a phone call to a random number without closing the door.
How did you know I recently made some money? It's alright, 500,000 isn't that much. How to spend it? I haven't decided yet. Do you have any suggestions? Eating, drinking, and playing around is so boring. How about we start a business together?
I acted eager and kept emphasizing over the phone that this year was a great time to make money and that we could double our earnings. As expected, after I hung up, Lily and Grace came over.
Ivy, why didn't you include us in making money? We're such good friends.
I thought you weren't interested. If you're willing to join me, that would be wonderful.
A week later, I invited the two of them to a tea shop.
My intention was indeed to make money with you too, but I've borrowed all I can and only managed to gather 700,000. You two combined only have 200,000. This business can't be done with such a small amount.
But Ivy, we've borrowed all we can too. 200,000 is the limit.
How can that be? You can borrow from your parents. We'll double the money and pay them back.
My parents don't have that much money.
If they don't, the bank does. We're getting into real estate, which is highly profitable. My property tripled in value. If you don't want to invest more, that's fine. The profit will be divided according to the investment ratio. You'll just earn less this time.
They exchanged a glance and said they'd think about it before leaving. Within 3 days, they would obediently bring the money. I underestimated their greed. By the next afternoon, I received their bank cards.
Thank you both for helping me with my second fortune. And for bringing yourselves closer to the abyss. I will make sure you become penniless in the shortest time possible.
Determined to change her fate, Emily decided to start her own business after being reborn.
I established 2 companies, planning to create my own clothing brand. One company was solely mine, and the other included Lily and Grace.
Emily began hiring people, aiming to get the company on track as quickly as possible.
I told Lily and Grace that the latest trend was cosmetics, which were more profitable than real estate.
At first, they were skeptical.
Month later, I brought in $50,000.
This is the dividend for this month.
50,000 a month? Ivy, you are a business genius.
Exactly. We were right to follow Ivy from the start.
Ivy, can we invest more? My parents took out a loan.
Me too. Me too.
Of course. This time, the returns will exceed your expectations.
Greed grows faster than money, and I would make them pay for their greed with everything they had. Emily's mind was filled with memories of scorn and resentment. As she closed her eyes, with Sophia taken care of, only 2 remained. The company Emily co-founded with Lily and Grace was spiraling downward.
I bought materials for making clothes and sold them at a low price to my own sole proprietorship. But I insisted on giving them dividends. So they firmly believed that I could make money for them.
Back at the dorm, Emily cried uncontrollably.
What should we do? Our company's finances are in trouble. I've even mortgaged my house, but it's still not enough.
Ivy, you have to save the company.
The main issue is the cash flow. I'm short of 2 million.
If only my parents could help a bit, we wouldn't be in such a tough spot.
Her seemingly casual complaint seemed to awaken them, and they took leave and went home overnight. A week later, Lily and Grace gave Emily $1.5 million. They had mortgaged their own family assets.
Ivy, you must save the company. This time we've really put everything on the line.
With the money in hand, Emily moved to the final step.
In a month and a half, I sold the last batch of materials, and the company declared bankruptcy, with assets liquidated.
Emily took the final $200,000 and returned to the dorm.
What? Bankruptcy? Emily, how dare you? Our family's house and car are all mortgaged to the bank. What can 200,000 do?
That's funny. Can I control bankruptcy? By the way, let me correct you. It's not 200,000 for you alone. It's 200,000 for the 3 of us. But I can give up my share. You two can decide how to split it.
She watched them turn against each other, no longer united as they were when they deceived her in the past. Emily smiled, gently closed the dorm door, and left. 2 months before graduation, Emily heard an interesting piece of gossip. Lily and Grace's families were declared bankrupt, their assets seized, and they were almost confronted by their parents. After giving them the $200,000, Emily moved to her own place. They searched for her frantically for a while but eventually gave up. Emily received a notification for graduate school admission but voluntarily gave it up. Her company was starting to grow, and she couldn't let her efforts go to waste.
However, I still posted the news on social media to annoy Sophia, tagging her and making it visible only to her.
On graduation day, Emily called the dorm from a public phone.
Lily, Grace, how does bankruptcy feel? How does it feel to be chased by creditors? I should thank you both. Without you, I wouldn't have had the money to start over. Thank you, my dear roommates.
In her previous life, Emily's true nightmare began after college ended. But this life's path was different from the previous one. After graduating from college, I didn't end up working multiple jobs to pay off debts from being scammed. I sat in the chairman's office chair, listening to employees report their work one by one, everything in order. The company had long been on the right track. With the last batch of low-cost materials, our revenue doubled, and I expanded the company's scale. According to the timeline, my parents would come to find me in 3 days.
Emily, where do you live? Your father and I need to talk to you.
I gave them my address. That evening, Oliver, my brother, also showed up at our doorstep. Oliver, the only child of the family, sounded very important, right? When I was born, my parents wanted to give me away because I was a girl, but my grandparents kept me. However, after Oliver was born, my grandparents passed away, and I became lonely again. Oliver was 5 years younger than me. When we were still children, one day, my mom brought home a hamburger.
Since he is younger and hasn't eaten one before, he should have it first.
But I hadn't eaten one either. She didn't even give me a chance to taste it. My dad would spend his hard-earned money each semester to buy Oliver a toy but was unwilling to pay for my school supplies. From the moment Oliver could speak, he always talked to me in a commanding tone.
Emily, everything you have will be mine in the future. You have to do whatever I tell you, or I'll have our parents kick you out.
I would be ordered to run 10 miles to find his favorite toy and was required to give him my summer job earnings to buy hamburgers. My room door was not allowed to be closed, or he would kick it open. I once naively believed that sincerity could be exchanged for sincerity. It wasn't until I passed away that I realized some people might be born without a heart. Like Oliver and his parents.
Oh, Emily, you live so well here. I'll take this house when I come back.
Ignoring him, Emily turned to the middle-aged couple standing before her.
If I'm not mistaken, you're here to ask for money, right? For Oliver's tuition?
How did you know?
With Oliver's grades, he definitely won't get in this year. What school would accept a student with such poor grades without a hefty fee?
Emily, how can you talk about your brother like that? I'm telling you, his tuition for repeating the year is $30,000 plus his living expenses. You need to prepare $50,000 for us by the day after tomorrow.
And if I don't?
Don't? Don't think we don't know where you work. We'll go to your company and let your colleagues know what an ungrateful daughter you are.
They really hadn't changed at all. In her past life, they threatened her with drastic measures. In this life, they threatened her reputation.
Address, 12th floor, Hongqing Building, Baoqing Street, Lianhua Road. I'll be waiting.
She pushed them out, and Oliver jumped aside.
You're such an ingrate. After all the effort we put into raising you, now you not only refuse to give us money but also want us to end up on the streets?
Emily threw a slipper at him, hitting him squarely in the face.
Shut up! You're the last person who has the right to talk to me like that. 50,000, right? Go earn it yourself. I earned my own tuition and living expenses. Why can't you?
Of course, I'm different from you. I'm the only son of the family. Who do you think you are?
We only asked you for 50,000 and you turn into this? Shouldn't you give money to your brother? It's your duty.
Duty? It's your choice to have him. Fine, let him call me Mom, and I'll transfer 10,000 immediately.
She pressed the security button on the wall.
Security, please come up quickly. I have some troublemakers here.
Her dad's eyes widened, as if he wanted to hit her but was intimidated by the security.
Emily, you've grown bold. We are your parents, and this is your brother.
I will give them money.
Their eyes lit up instantly.
Come to my office tomorrow to get it.
She instructed the security to ensure they never enter this community again. She just wanted them to see that she was doing well on her own. She wasn't a burden, they were. Emily's memories were filled with hurtful words from her past.
Emily, you ungrateful girl, always fighting with your brother. Do you even have the right?
Emily, send us money. Your brother wants to buy a computer.
Emily, your senior doesn't love you. Look in the mirror sometimes. Stop embarrassing yourself.
Emily, we invested money too. Everyone lost everything. Why should we pay you back?
People say that before you pass away, your life's important memories flash before your eyes like a slideshow. My memories were filled with resentment. As I closed my eyes, I thought if I could live again, I would make them all pay. Perhaps the heavens took pity on me because I was reborn. They refused to leave without getting the money. Fine, I had my bodyguards watch them, forbidding them from drinking water, eating, or using the restroom. They left within a morning, bought tickets, and returned to their hometown.
Now, with no immediate obstacles, I can continue with my business plans. This year, a short video company called KS was founded. In the future, it will rise rapidly and capture a significant market share. I should invest in it.
She allocated $5 million to invest in KS. At the same time, she established a chain of flagship clothing stores in major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen.
The growth of KS Company exceeded my expectations. Within just 6 months, I started receiving substantial dividends.
In the past 6 months, she traveled between several cities and finally opened 30 chain stores. Leveraging KS Company, she promoted her clothing brand, quickly gaining recognition.
In 2015, I plan to leave my current city and move to Beijing for further development. It will offer me a broader horizon.
She began scouting locations, hiring staff, and renovating. Except for those unwilling to leave the current city, she took everyone else with her, offering an extra quarter's salary.
Sometimes, a sudden idea might not be a coincidence.
When her company was almost relocated, Oliver brought her parents to cause trouble again. This time, they got smarter. They made a banner and held it at the building's entrance, making it impossible for Emily to avoid.
ZY Company Chairman Emily, cold-hearted, unfilial to parents, does not help family, disregards family ties, intolerable by heaven.
Ridiculous. Here, I am the heaven, I am the reason. Who do they think they are?
Emily urgently ordered several large signs and paid a few employees $500 each for overtime to stand next to Oliver and his family. The signs read,
Emily, female. Born in 1993. Her parents favored boys over girls, always calling her names like worthless and unfilial daughter. They verbally and physically mistreated her, never spent a penny on her, and even tried to stop her from going to school, hoping she would take care of her brother. They lacked any compassion and were unworthy as parents. Her brother, a troublemaker since childhood, always caused problems that Emily had to clean up. He never showed gratitude and treated his sister like a servant. Such a heart is despicable.
She also arranged slogans for them.
ZY's Emily, pitiful and unloved, forgave past grievances, respected her parents, loved her brother, but now is betrayed and heartbroken.
Seeing her employees shouting until their faces turned red made Emily feel gratified.
Holding a sign is 500, shouting slogans is 500, first come, first served.
Everyone rushed downstairs within 5 seconds.
Mr. and Mrs. Robert, and the only brother Oliver, let me show you what true justice is.
Emily arranged for the publicity department to take pictures of the scene and write a press release to post online.
A free publicity opportunity should not be wasted.
Thus, after this commotion, the News ZY Group chairwoman's difficult growth environment, yet she single-handedly established ZY's position, ZY Group expanding into cosmetics and opening the 31st store, growing vigorously dominated the headlines of major websites.
Publicity department head. A raise for you. Look at this mess, how did it hit so close to home?
Emily's memories were filled with hatred. As she closed her eyes, she thought if she could live again, she would make them all pay. Perhaps the heavens took pity on her because she was reborn. Emily sat in her room, her thoughts filled with echoes of the past.
Emily, you ungrateful girl, always fighting with your brother. Do you even have the right?
Emily, send us money. Your brother wants to buy a computer.
Emily, your senior doesn't love you. Look in the mirror sometimes. Stop embarrassing yourself.
Emily, we invested money too. Everyone lost everything. Why should we pay you back?
People say that before you pass away, your life's important memories flash before your eyes like a slideshow. Emily's memories were filled with hatred. As she closed her eyes, she thought if she could live again, she would make them all pay. Perhaps the heavens took pity on her because she was reborn. Emily's self-created clothing brand now required minimal effort to maintain and brought in considerable profits. She shifted her focus to cosmetics and the entertainment sector.
The cosmetics development has been ongoing for over half a year. I acquired YSLA Cosmetics Company. If everything goes as planned, this company will lead the domestic cosmetics industry.
Emily assembled a professional research team, instructing them to ensure every product was the best in the industry, no matter the cost. Simultaneously, she prepared to establish an entertainment company to nurture rising stars and capture the market.
Mr. Dong, may I meet with your company's agent, Wendy?
Emily chose a highly private location to meet Wendy, one of the top 3 agents in the country.
Wendy, you are a very capable woman, and I have always admired you. As far as I know, your company's internal situation isn't very good right now. The stars you've managed have either left or dispersed. Do you have any thoughts about changing jobs?
Ms. Emily, you are indeed an outstanding entrepreneur, very efficient. You are right, the company is inevitably declining. But changing jobs? You don't have any entertainment company under your name, do you?
That's what I wanted to talk about. I am establishing an entertainment company, and you are the first person I've chosen. You are the key to whether I can get started. I believe many people are trying to recruit you. No matter how much they offer, I will double it.
No one would refuse money, and Wendy quickly agreed to Emily's terms. Emily listed out the nurturing type and established stars who hadn't had any scandals before her previous demise and handed the list to Wendy, asking her to recruit these people. Wendy's influence soon brought 1/3 of the people on the list into the company. Emily appointed Wendy as the director of the economic department, and the number of artists in the company increased rapidly. Emily arranged endorsements, and with the star effect, the cosmetics quickly gained popularity. Coupled with the high quality of the products, the company's scale grew almost geometrically. At the same time, a superstar entertainment company quickly emerged. Many big names were recruited by Wendy, and the nurturing star path progressed smoothly. Every once in a while, Emily's name would appear in the trending section.
Famous female entrepreneur Emily establishes cosmetics brand YSLA, quickly becoming a giant in the cosmetics industry. Shocking. The real owner of Dragon Entertainment Company is Emily. How much more potential does this all-around female entrepreneur have?
To sum up Emily's current mood in one sentence, it's lonely at the top. During a meeting, Ivy's phone rang. It was her mother, sounding unusually panicked.
Panicked. Ivy, your brother is in big trouble this time.
Ivy remained silent, prompting her mother to continue.
Panicked. Oliver owed some gambling debts recently, but today he was detained, and we haven't seen him since.
Serious? How much is some gambling debt?
Nervous. Not much, just over 5 million.
Ivy couldn't help but scoff at the understatement.
Serious, 5 million, I don't have it, and even if I did, I wouldn't give it. Greedy people need to face consequences to learn a lesson.
Angry. Emily, you heartless girl, are you really going to let him suffer? Don't forget he's your brother.
Angry, let me tell you, not only will I let him suffer, but I'll also enjoy watching it. If he weren't my brother, I might consider helping. But since he is, there's no way. Every grievance I've endured over the past 20 years is tied to him. You better pray I don't get involved, or Oliver's fate will be even worse.
She could hear her father's curses gradually coming through the phone. They had been using the same insults for over 20 years without tiring. Ivy hung up the phone and signaled for the meeting to continue. No one could interfere with her work. Today, the detective sent Emily a message about Oliver's injury.
Oliver's hand was injured. He owes $20 million in gambling debts. He started organizing illicit activities, but he was caught. The casino owner forced him to mortgage everything valuable. The Zhong family has nothing left.
That's not enough. I'll deliver the final blow.
Emily arranged for the injured man to get a medical examination and retrieve surveillance footage to prove severe injury. Along with Oliver's threats to the victim, the lawyer said Oliver could be sentenced to 7 years.
Oliver bribed local judicial personnel, constituting bribery, which adds another 10 years. Organizing illicit activities on a large scale adds 10 more years. Participating in gambling and forming a local criminal gang, altogether, it's enough for a life sentence.
Emily compiled all the information and handed it to the authorities. In the end, Oliver was sentenced to life imprisonment.
In my previous life, I left in pain and resentment. In this life, let him spend his days behind bars. I hope he lives long enough to endure prolonged suffering.
The Zhong couple cried their hearts out, but it was useless. They couldn't sustain themselves, let alone save their precious son.
I've already blocked them. They can't reach me and have no money to find me. They can only watch helplessly as Oliver is sent to prison.
Emily wondered if they regretted being so cruel to her back then. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. It didn't matter anymore. They couldn't cause any more trouble now, just a bunch of insignificant beings. In 2022, my company went public, and I became the youngest female billionaire in the world.
Look at this. The money in my bank account is more than I ever dreamed of.
I lay on the bed in my grand mansion, ate the delicious pastries made by my highly skilled chef, and listened to my employees reporting their work.
Miss Emily, I have prepared your favorite pastries.
Thank you. They look wonderful.
Ms. Emily, the quarterly report is ready for your review.
Excellent. Please leave it on my desk.
This was the life I, Emily, truly deserved. This was my real life.
All the nightmares had dissipated, and my life was now filled with bright and glorious sunshine. Emily, you have come a long way. You did great, and you worked hard. Now, cherish the rest of your days and love yourself well.